Hi, this is Captain Tim with Freedom Boat Club of the Space and Treasure Coast. In this video, I'll be walking you through the process of navigating a lock, specifically the lock at the west end of Port Canaveral. When approaching the lock, you'll have to hail the lock operator on your VHF radio. Canaveral Lock uses channel 13. The typical vernacular used would be Canaveral Lock, this is whatever the name of the boat, and tell them which direction you're going. If you ever forget the lock's operating channel, check for the brown sign at the end of the wall. After hailing the lockmaster, give him a few minutes to respond. He's not always next to the radio, or he may be busy dealing with another boat.
All right there, eastbound, you are clear to exit the lock. Thank you, sir.
When operating in the vicinity of the lock, it's important to leave a clear lane of travel for other traffic. As you can see here, we're floating around to the right side of the lock doors, but you may tie up to the wall as well. Once the lock operator acknowledges your call, he'll rattle off a list of instructions which will include waiting for the signal to enter, everybody on board wearing a life jacket throughout the lockage, having bow and stern lines ready, and once you're inside the lock, tie up and stay tied until you're told to untie. Once the channel is clear, the lock operator will signal your clearance to enter with a blinking green traffic light to the top left of the doors and/or a radio call. It's worth pointing out that the lock is operated by the Army Corps of Engineers, and like an Army drill instructor, they won't hesitate to let you know if you've messed up, so it's in your best interest to pay attention to their directions. Much of this video has been sped up for time's sake, but please note that locks are no wake zones. Keep your speed down to 1,000 RPM or less in any of the club boats as you enter or exit the lock. Choose which wall to tie up to in the lock based on where you have your dock lines. If your preferred wall is already full, switch lines and go to the other side. Don't turn the whole boat around where you will clog up traffic. It's best to make your way most of the way down the lock wall when selecting a place to tie up. This will leave plenty of space for any traffic coming in behind you to get tied up without having to work around you. Because of changing water levels in the lock, it's important to be able to let out slack in your lines quickly. This ability is best maintained by wrapping the line around the base of the cleat rather than tying knots. If there aren't any cleats that are convenient nearby, you may also wrap line around the lock wall itself. While waiting in the lock chamber, you are likely to see many different species of fish swimming around. This is all a cruel joke though, because the lock is a no fishing area. Here we see water pouring in through the lock doors, indicating a change in water level. Typically, the change in water level will be no more than an 18-inch rise or drop, depending on going from high to low tide on the ocean side. However, this number can expand to 2 to 3 feet during the king tides in the spring and fall. Continually monitor your dock lines as the water goes up or down, and make sure the boat is able to freely do the same as the water level. Also keep an eye on the sides of the boat, making sure they don't get stuck on top of or below the rails along the lock wall. The results are potentially catastrophic. The lock's online instructions state that engines should be shut off after mooring. It's a good idea when the lock is full of engines pushing a lot of exhaust, but I have yet to see this rule enforced. Keep an eye on the weather if the lock is separating you from your home port. The lock operator will shut down operations if lightning strikes within a 5-mile radius, and the lock will remain closed until lightning has been outside of the 5-mile radius for at least 30 minutes.
Canaveral Lock, vessel in chamber, you're clear to exit.
With that radio call, it's finally time to leave. Untie, push off the wall, and ease your way out. Keep those life jackets on until you're outside of the lock doors, though. This whole process takes 15 to 20 minutes in real time, but that may double if you're stuck waiting on traffic moving in the opposite direction. Factor in this transit time to ensure a timely return to the dock and enjoy the rest of your day on the water.